is it possible to romanticize the idea of planting garlic? Because when I was harvesting this garlic, I was just full of this like fairy tale feeling. And for me, it definitely felt very epic. And it's because it was the first thing that I ever planted here on our homestead. We moved in last November, and that box was it was the last thing to go on that truck because I knew it had to go in the ground immediately. So we had boxes everywhere, suitcases everywhere, couldn't find a thing, but I knew where that garlic was, and I knew I had a very small window of time to get that in the ground. I planted my garlic in very loose, fluffy soil. Any kind of root vegetable really prefers if they don't have to break through clay. Now there are some clay breakers out there that will grow, like a beet and a radish maybe will do better in a more compact soil, but carrots and garlic and potatoes, those root vegetables really want very little resistance when it comes to how their tuber is formed underground. I don't know if I can call it a tuber, but that's what I did. Bulb, that's the word. And then I waited until I saw some very long scapes growing up out of it. The scape is it's an edible part of the hard neck, the very central stalk of it. It grows very tall and it curls around, and it will eventually form a blossom. You don't want to let it blossom. You want to, when it starts to curl, you want to cut your scape off, and that will not impede the growth underneath the ground. You want the energy not to go to flowering, but to the bulb itself. And you can use that in your soups. You can use it in stews or sauteing or whatever you like. Some people like them raw. Definitely want to take the scape off. And then the time to harvest for hardneck garlic is about the time that you see about a third of the leaves starting to die. By the time I harvested mine, a few more had died than just a third. Some of them, the whole plant was just very brown and wilty, but that worked for me. If you do it any earlier than that, you're gonna have a less mature bulb. And so mine were quite large, and they were just super ready to come out of the ground. So after that, I braided them with some rope, or I tied them in to look like a braid with some rope. It's really simple. It's fun to play with if you enjoy the artistic form. And then I hung them up to dry. I did originally hang them in my house, but hardneck garlic is extremely pungent, especially because I had just been handling them to clean off the paper and get all the little roots trimmed short, and the entire house quickly smelled like garlic. So I took it out, and it's hanging out in our little herb drying shed. So now it will just hang there. It's dark and very dry, so that's where it's gonna be until I need it. So this hardneck garlic just really made an impact on me because it was technically our first success. We've had a lot of losses here on our farm, and that's normal. I think it's very easy to show all the good things that happen, but you know, we have a lot of losses. We've lost several animals, and there are some crops that aren't coming up at all or that have already petered out and died. It's nice to have a win, especially that it was the first thing that we grew here. I will say this, garlic is so easy. I did pick a very easy, it was like a shoe-in. I did pick a very, it would have been very hard to mess up. So that's all about hardneck garlic. Thank you for celebrating with me the very first successful planting on our homestead. And that's all for today's video, and we'll see you in the next one.